Welcome back to Mass Spec, everybody. We got a benzylic compound. Actually, this is 1-phenylethanol. And we're going to see what would happen when you have benzenes in your compound. Benzenes do have like their own signature way of breaking up. Okay. So let's look at it. All right, so we got 122 here. And that would be the molecular ion peak. And how do you get that? Same as before. Again, typically that would be the one, even though you have pi bonds here, they're in resonance. These are more vulnerable than these probably. And so you hit that out and you have molecular ion peak here. So high energy electrons would go in and pretty much take that out. And so now you have over here a oxygen that has only got 5 electrons for its formal charge. So it is going to be a positive, and that is your molecular ion peak. And that is 122. The molecular weight is 122, charge is 1. Therefore, m over z, where z is 1, is going to be 122. And that's quite a big peak. So, you know, it's there for a while. But look at that. Once it goes to 122, then 107 is the highest peak. So 122 minus 107 is 15. And we know what a 15 is. That is going to be a methyl, and the only methyl that I can see here is this. So therefore, this is going to be your alpha cleavage, I mean between alpha and beta. Okay, so here is your, that's your A. All right, let's do it. So here is your benzene that's next to a benzylic alcohol. This is a benzylic alcohol. And you have a methyl group right here. And if you start with the cation here, you can see that you can take out the methyl just like we did before. So here's a sigma bond, the sigma bond electrons. Then hold hands with this unpaired electron on the oxygen and make a double bond. And you've seen this many times. This isn't really nothing new. There is a carbon here, and the carbon, bear in mind, has a hydrogen. So you have that hydrogen here, and you have a double bonded oxygen, and now you lost one of the lone pairs. However, you have the other lone pair here. And your methyl group goes down the chute as it is neutral. This is your 15. This is your 122. Therefore, this is going to be 107. Now, if you take the formal charge here, the formal charge for this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It should be 6. 6 minus 5 is going to be a 1. So that's going to hit the recorder and give you a peak at 107. And well, you can see how all of that resonance is going to play into the stability of that molecule. All right. Well, after 107, there is a 105. A 105. You could say, well, 102 minus 107 is a 17. That is also very likely, because what is a 16 is oxygen, so 17 is going to be probably a hydroxyl. And you can see how this molecule has an OH here that's just primed to leave. Okay, so we can do, let's call this let's do a B to take off your hydroxyl. So, and here is, and well, over here, if you look at this, you can do a cleavage right here, CH3 here, H here, and here is your OH, and this is your radical cation. What about if you have both these electrons swing over here? Let's look at the formal charge of that molecule and so break that bond. So here is your carbon here with your hydrogen and your methyl. Now it's going to be an sp2. There you only have 1, 2, 3 for your formal charge, or 6 electrons for your valence, so therefore your electron deficient 4 minus 3 is a plus, and that's going to hit your recorder and give you a 105. Well, this is then going to go in, and let's look at the formal charge of this. 2 electrons coming in, and you already have A1, and there's a hydrogen. So if you take the formal charge of this molecule, you can see if you just box it up and find out what's in the box, just like we did for formal charge, all along. The box in the box is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So therefore 6 minus 6 is going to be a 0. So this is going to be a neutral hydroxyl radical that's just going to go down the chute. This is the one that's going to be recorded as a peak by the detector. Okay, well, the detector, amplifier, and so on. All right, so let's look at what are the possibilities. Typically, a cation like this can then rearrange and give you a tropylium cation. If you have a cation right next to a benzene, that can give you a tropylium cation. So that is something kind of expands over here and gives you a tropylium cation. So that is going to be a CH3 plus. We didn't really get rid of any of the atoms, and so this is pretty much what you have here for the same molecular weight, 105. And this is really more stable because it's aromatic. You can see that these can go around the ring, and the charge can be, positive charge can be distributed along the entire ring. And so sometimes we can, draw this out and put the positive for the entire molecule like that. Okay, the 7-membered ring cation, aromatic cation, is called the tropylium cation. What else is possible? So we know 105 and 107 is done. Let's look at these other peaks. There's a significant peak at 43, 79, and 77. So if you take 122 and if you want to go to 77, that's about 45. 77 is typically a benzene cation. So here, when you have a benzene ring, 6 carbons is 72, and if you have 5 hydrogens here, that would be 77. And so that's probably what's going on. So I'm going to draw this out a little bit different because of the space. You have your hydroxyl, and you have this 122 cation here that we can then use to figure out how we can get a 77 cation. So basically, 122, and this has to go over. So if you take this, and if this goes over here, you can see how that could become a cation. So here you have one of the hydrogens missing here. All of the other carbons have a hydrogen, and that would then become 77. Then the rest of the molecule, you can see, well, it can come off and become a radical over there. And there you go. So that radical is going to get, sucked in through the tube. So you can get your cation here, phenyl cation, for 77. Now, this is going to be 45. That's a radical. It's not going to show up here. Let's look at what other possibilities are there for the 79. All right, 79. What could be a 79? Well, it's really not very obvious to us, but it does happen that these tropylium cations can spit out alkyne. Okay, I mean, that does sound a little strange, but strange things do happen inside the mass spec, as you've noticed. So if you have this same, let's say you take this tropylium cation, and let's say you have over here a double bond here, you can extrude one of them. Okay, I mean, this is just one of the things that could be possible, where you make a ring that's 5-membered and spit out this alkyne. So if you do that, you're going to get your alkyne coming out, and your alkyne is going to be 24 plus 2, 26, and this is 105, and so the rest of it, which is going to be 79, is going to be what's remaining here of this tropylium, methyl tropylium cation. Once the alkyne gets out, you can have a 5-membered ring here, okay? And that is going to be a 79. And typically, these can also then break up some more and give you a 3-membered ring, all right? Now, let's look at how you could form a 43. Let's say we have this entire benzene ring here, and you have over here your oxygen getting electron ionization inside the machine, becoming a radical cation like we saw. Well, you could then break it up like this, where you get the benzene radical coming off, and then you would have a carbonyl. The carbonyl can have the oxygen here, and since it's losing that lone unpaired electron to make a pi bond here, you would only have one lone pair here, and these would remain. Okay, and if you take this and do the formal charge, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 6 minus 5 is a +1. So that is going to be recorded on your mass spec, and that would have, this is 77, this is 122, and so that would be a 45. Well, 45, there is a teeny peak there, but the strong one is 43. So what could this do? Well, if you look at this, this doesn't have an octet. So in order to have an octet, it could grab the electrons from the hydrogen, and these can both go in and make a double bond. The hydrogens then can go off together merrily, and that can get, it's neutral, it gets sucked up through the vacuum there, and you can get your oxygen here with an octet. And typically most of the strong peaks, you know, like, I mean, this peak here is a stable peak, it's got an octet. All right, and you can see 1072 is your base peak, 100% relative abundance, and that too has an oxygen that's got an octet. All right, and this one's also stable. I could put this positive charge outside the molecule just because you can have resonance here. So when you have resonance, that makes it even more stable, and it is an all octet molecule, and the positive charge can then be smeared throughout the molecule, which makes it last probably a few nanoseconds longer than the others, and you can get more of them hitting the detector than before they break up. All right, here are some possibilities, and we will look at some more possibilities with other molecules. Okay, I'm just doing different functional groups, therefore you would kind of get a flavor of all of these different types of possibilities in a mass spec, and some of them can look a little absurd, like, you know, things like this, but as I said, these are just things that, you know, we speculate happens inside a mass spec, and those are possibilities, and these are just living there for, you know, a few milliseconds or nanoseconds, and they're gone. So therefore not all of them are extremely stable molecules. They're just there for a short while and they're gone. And we get a glimpse of them through the mass spec. And from all these fragments, let's say we didn't know what the initial molecule was. From all these fragmentation patterns, we can put it together and say, chances are we got a benzylic alcohol over there. In that case, it's a 1-phenylethanol. All right. See you soon, guys, with more molecules. Hang on for the ride.